Hi, I have, whoops, I have another book. Flipped It Around, A Pocket Full of Kisses by Audrey Penn, illustrated by Barbara Leonard Gibson. And I hope it's not too shiny. I've got the sun shining in the window here, so there's not a big glare. But this is a book called A Pocket Full of Kisses. Let's see. The first picture is like the cover, so we'll skip that one. But this next page is really cute. I think this picture comes up later in the book, if I recall correctly. But here's a cute picture of the two little raccoons on a branch. And you can see from the cover that it's about a raccoon family. Chester Raccoon sat in the hollow of a tree stump and pouted. "Please, can we give him back?" he asked his mother. "I'll be really, really good if we can give him back." I don't know if I like that page so much. I remember reading it already before I read you this book, and I thought, what is he talking about? We'll see. Mrs. Raccoon smiled tenderly. "You're already really, really good, Chester, but I'm afraid no matter how good you are, we can't give him back. Besides, I thought you liked having a little brother." "I did like it at first," admitted Chester, "but now he plays with my toys, and he swings on my swings, and he reads my books, and then he pulls my tail and talks to my friends and follows me wherever I go." There they are talking. Mommy Raccoon, Chester Raccoon, and who do you see in the distance there? That's the little brother swinging on the swing. It's a pretty setting, isn't it? Butterflies, trees, flowers, even a little bunny over there. Can you see him? Yeah. Little bunnies. We like bunnies. So anyway, Chester really likes his brother. In fact, he loves his brother. But he's a little confused right now. He really doesn't know how to handle the fact that his brother follows him around and takes his things sometimes. And so he's not really thinking very clearly. And he doesn't know what to do about it. Well, Mrs. Raccoon lifted Chester onto her lap, and she smoothed out his worried, furry forehead. It was kind of worrying. You know, when you worry, you get some little lines in your face and your forehead. And she said, "That's what little brothers do," she explained in a very motherly tone. "It's no different than sharing the woods or sharing the stream or sharing the food we find. Ronnie wants to be just like you." And there we learned that the little brother's name is Ronnie. So there's Mama. Chester's on her lap, and she's explaining everything. And there's the bunny listening too. And maybe the bunny has a little brother or sister. And the bunny's smiling too. Like, that sounds like good advice. Because little brothers and little sisters often do want to be just like their big brother or sister. Yeah, they love them so much. Well, Mrs. Raccoon placed Chester on the ground and smiled at him with the soft, loving eyes that he knew so well. "I think someone needs a kissing hand," she said in a voice that was warm and inviting. And she took Chester's hand in her own and spread open his tiny fingers. If you've ever seen a raccoon's fingers, here's a picture here. Their hands look a little bit like ours. They have like fingers on them. So they're, of course, shaped a little differently, and they're furry. But, have fur near them, I should say. But they're not, they're similar. So she took his hand. This is something that they did every now and then. And she spread open his fingers in like a little fan. And then she leaned over and kissed him right in the middle of his palm, the palm of his hand. And Chester felt the warmth of that kiss rush from his hand up his arm and into his heart. And when he pressed his hand to his cheek, he could hear his mother's words in his head. "Mommy loves you," they said. "Mommy loves you." But that was very special. Chester grinned so wide that the tips of his silky black mask, you remember how raccoons look, The tips curled upward because he was smiling. So big. Even his cheeks flushed to a primrose pink, and he was the happiest raccoon in the forest. And there's that picture again. I was showing you his hands before, but now let's look at his face and the big smile, a little pink in his cheeks, and even this little black mask is like tipped up a little bit on each side. And there's where his mommy is holding his hand and giving him that special kiss. Let's see. What does she call it? She calls it the kissing hand. Well, then, in the blink of a moment, all the joy went out of the little raccoon. His pink cheeks paled. And a stream of tiny, hot tears fell like spring rain down his sad little face. What happened? Well, even his silky black mask that we were just looking at on his face, it drooped as he watched his mother reach down, take Ronnie's hand, his little brother, in her own, open his tiny fingers into a fan, and kiss his brother right in the middle of his palm. There it is. There's Mommy doing it to little baby brother Ronnie. Fox is smiling and watching and thinking, how sweet. But Chester is crying and he's sad and droopy face. What happened? Why is he so sad? Would you be sad in a situation like that? You just got this love from your mom and a loving kiss on your hand that you always loved. And then you saw your little brother getting the same thing. Well, Chester gasped. That was my kissing hand, in the saddest voice his mother had ever heard. Why did you give Ronnie my kissing hand? Don't you love me anymore? And there he is, calling out to his mommy with his sad, tear-streamed face. And Mommy's like, huh? And Ronnie's surprised. They're like, oh, my goodness. Oh, Chester, cried Mrs. Raccoon, of course I love you. Then how come you gave the baby my kissing hand? Asked Chester. I love how this author draws all these beautiful animals, deers and insects and butterflies and bunnies and everything. And here is Mama Raccoon with cuddling Ronnie and explaining to Chester that she surely loves him. But Chester's confused. Why did she give him a kissing hand? Mrs. Raccoon gathered Chester up in her arms, gave him a great, big, comforting, squeezy hug. I would never give Ronnie your kissing hand, she assured him gently. That was his kissing hand. Now you each have one of your own. There's that big hug, and little Ronnie's in part of it too. Chester and Ronnie and Mommy. She has enough love for two, doesn't she? For each of her children. And she says, I gave you your kissing hand and I gave Ronnie his kissing hand. You each have your own. And I have enough love for you both. Well, Chester wiped away his tears and settled down into his mother's lap. If you give both of us kissing hands, won't you run out? He says. Mrs. Raccoon laughed. Would you like to hear a story, she asked Chester. About kisses? About stars, said Mrs. Raccoon. And here they are talking. And look at, there's a cute little squirrel and bird. All these sweet animals of the woods. And then this is where she asked him if he'd like to hear a story about stars. You think he's going to say yes? Yeah, he likes that idea. So she says every night, just before the sun goes down, it reaches out with its rays and touches every star in the universe. One by one, the stars light up and shine down upon us. Even on nights we can't see the stars, they're up there sparkling away. No matter how many stars fill the sky, the sun will never run out of light, and its rays will never stop reaching out to them. That's the way it is with kissing hands. When somebody loves you, their kisses are like the sun's rays, always there and always shining. No matter how many kissing hands I give you and Ronnie, I will never, ever run out. And there she is, talking to her, Mama Raccoon talking to her dear little children, Chester and Ronnie. You think they know how loved they are now? Especially Chester, he needed to be reassured, didn't he? Oh, and I forgot to show you this pretty picture of the sun setting and the stars coming out at night. Looks like some geese flying in the sky in the shape of a V. Very pretty scene again in the woods as the sun goes down. But you are right about one thing, Mrs. Raccoon told Chester. Ronnie's big brother, who is Chester, widened his eyes and looked surprised. What's that? He asked his mother. You are the big brother, and that deserves something extra special. There she is telling him that you deserve something extra special because you're the big brother. There's Ronnie. What's he playing with? A frog. And there is a bird that looks like upside down. I'm not sure which one that is, but a water bird that probably eats fish, I would imagine. Well, let's see what she says. You are the big brother, and that deserves something extra special. Mrs. Raccoon put Ronnie on a swing and then took Chester's right hand in hers and spread open his tiny fingers into a fan. Leaning over, she kissed him right in the middle of his palm. That kiss is for your pocket, she told him. Take good care of it and keep it as a spare. You never know when a big brother might need a little extra care. There she is, pushing Ronnie and telling him and giving him a kiss to put in his pocket to save for later. Chester hugged his mother and romped away. I love you too, he seemed to say. There he is on the tree, smiling at his friends, the bird and the squirrel. You think he, look at all that love coming out of him. I think he knows now how loved he is. And here's a picture, like we saw on the cover. The moon is out, and Mama Raccoon is with her two little babies. Well, one's a baby and one's a bigger brother, right? And there's a pretty deer and his baby deer, a fawn, that we saw on the cover, or near the beginning. And there's that picture again. But this time, it means a little more because we've read the story. Chester and his little brother. And that's the end. Okay? I hope you enjoyed A Pocket Full of Kisses and know how much mommies and daddies can love all their children. See ya!